getting some cooler temperatures now. I want to sit and weed out these. Of course, this is our amaranth, which is a very tasty plant. I don't eat much salads, which I should eat more of, but this now would be very good to chop up and add to a salad. If I had hens, of course, excellent for the hens. Both red-rooted amaranth and the lamb's quarter. But they're almost going to seed here now. And I kind of want to keep them out of the, well, keep it down to a dull roar. I don't mind some of them being in there, right? In the future, if I get hens again, I'll be happy to have a bunch of this growing. One of the things I haven't accomplished here is getting rid of the grass. Grass is rather pointless in a garden bed. Say a lot of the other weeds. I mean, here's the mallow. That's edible, and that's also another one that you could throw into your hens, right? So you can go along weeding and just think of it as collecting feed for your hens. Or you can eat your weeds, or you can use them for compost. I'm going fairly good here. I think I'll stand up for a bit. Plantain is another good weed that people sing the praises of every now and then. I've never used it. But you know, the seed head on plantain you can use as a grain as well. Sometimes standing up is better, sometimes sitting down is better. And of course, bending over like that, you quickly get tension in your hamstrings and that. So if you want to keep on weeding, then you sit down to give your hamstrings a break. I got a nice, some nice size onions here. Standing up and bending over is faster, but then you've got to deal with the pain in your hamstrings. In the backs of your legs and that. So we've noticed before, and yesterday I was mowing in a place where I had some broader leaf weeds, and the bag got full, so there's a bunch of clippings of broadleaf weeds laying there on top of the meadow, and there's a bunch of slugs around them. Don't put this stuff in your garden bed, because the regular slugs this starts to fade, it attracts your slugs, and then, as you know, they will eat live vegetation. They don't come especially for the live vegetation, but once they're there, they'll eat it. And when you are doing your weeding, did I already say, don't just throw it back, make piles. If I had a garden cart with a fairly large bin, it would might be good. And that's something I think I should keep in my mind to do. Have one with little small wheels so it's low to the ground. Then I could pull it along, make it the size that I could pull along through my existing pathways. And then I can throw all the weeds into this garden cart. And then it'll be less cleanup. But for right now, it's a matter of pulling up doing vegetation control and trying to make as few piles as possible. Now that first bed is not so bad, but the grass growing up in this bed is still vicious. There's some dock here, which, yeah, it is a useful plant, but it becomes an awful big plant, so it's not really something that you can grow in among your smaller annuals. Now the nice thing about having the meadow clippings mulch on your garden, I've noticed that it brings the roots, the rhizomes of these like grasses and stuff up higher, and they're easier to remove. I don't have a whole lot of mulch on these onions. Creeping buttercup here. This is one of the harder weeds to remove, regardless of what conditions they grow in. And another one that I don't know the use of, actually. I'm told that buttercups are poisonous. I don't know if that's true or not. Really didn't want to dislodge that onion because it's still growing. And now, by putting the pile of weeds in the center of that bed, I've only got one pile on the outside. If I remember to do that every bed, then I just have 2 piles to pick up per bed, right? One on the outside, one on the inside. And then if I'm doing several beds, of course, like if I was going to weed these beets here now, then I just add to that center pile there before I actually pick them up. So in each pathway between 2 beds, I'd only have 1 pile for basically a full bed's worth of weeds. This bed I haven't actually tried very hard to get everything out, because if you remember last year I was hoping I'd get a bunch more chamomile, and well, it didn't work out. I have a few chamomile plants growing there in among there now, but not very many, not enough to even get an harvest from. But that's part of the reason why there's so many weeds in this bed, is because I didn't really be so serious on getting those perennial roots. I didn't expect to get basically anything from this bed because it was those scrawniest of the onion sets that I had, but they grew fairly well. I mean, I'm going to get an harvest, so not big onions, but you buy them in the store that size. So more great salad crops if I was into eating salads. Already cleaned out, and considering that I put these onions in with sets, I'm kind of thinking I'll get a satisfactory harvest. A lot of the onions are starting to fall over now. I'm going to harvest them, the ones that have fallen over today, but the ones that are still standing up, because I mean it's only the middle of August, they have time to grow, I'll leave those. I don't recommend people try to have a weed-free garden for a couple reasons. One being that the weeds are useful. Some of them are edible. Some of them you can feed to your livestock. At the last chance, weeds are capturing nutrients that you just add to your compost and use next year. Now back to the onions that the tops are falling over. Remember I said the slugs are attracted to the broadleaf plants where the leaves are fading. They'll also be attracted to the fading leaves that are laying down there of the onions. And then you've got a slug problem, right? The other thing is that if I take them up now, I can dehydrate those. I can freeze them, but I tried that, and some people do it. They chop them up and freeze them in ice cubes, and you throw them in like when you're making soup or something. But I didn't really like that as well as chopping them up, dehydrating them, and turning them into a green onion powder. If I leave them here like this, like I said, the slugs are going to eat them, and I won't get the advantage of extra onion harvest. If you've been around permaculture circles any at all, you might have come across the idea of making a problem the solution. So you see around here how dark this has settled down. So this is actually quite a huge pile of clippings, metal clippings I took out of the lawnmower. And it's also over there. Stinging nettles are reported to be quite a nutritious plant for eating as well, but I'm not going to be eating them. But for making compost tea. Now, what I just showed you was I mowed this area and I didn't want to touch it because it's all stinging nettles. I just dumped it out and I kicked it in around the tree. So I'm thinking that this will be as good as putting kelp around a tree. And not only that, see, we go in under here. Let's put you on a little bit wider. And so we're in underneath the apple tree, and this entire area here is stinging nettles. It's fairly level. There's not much there to hurt the lawnmower. So if I cut them down, and before they go to seed, mow them again, then I can use that for mulch around trees. I'll just, like I say, just dump it out of the bag, and I'm wearing my rubber boots so I can just kick it in around the tree. And after it's been sitting there for a day, then the stinging has gone out of it. But like I say, I do it before it goes to seed, because I don't want to be having stinging nettles growing up among my trees all over the garden. Lawnmower, the batteries are wearing out. I don't get much. I'm still going to hoax today. I'm going to mow this, and I'm going to mulch around some of the trees. One bag full. I do have my gloves on. So like I said, rather than getting my hands into fresh stinging nettle material, I'll just dump it out around a tree like that. And because this is a lot of stinging nettles, I mean, this is pawed really high now, but this is settled down quite low, quite fast. And so that's Juliet cherry mulch with what should be a quite nutritious mulch. So you remember the dock seed I harvested? Peanut butter bran cookies these are. So it was a cup of all-purpose flour, a cup of wheat bran, and a cup of rolled oats. The wheat bran, of course, is I turned all the dock seed into flour, and I used 1 cup of it in here. And these are really good cookies. Now, as I said, I'm going to take up all the onions that the necks are tipped over, and the idea is to plant something else and see if I can get another crop this year. This is a nice size onion for something that I grew from a set. I've never got an onion this big from a set. My only success in the past, real success with onions, has been from seed. What that's how is it? It's coming off. So just show something that's there. So this is from the first bed, the ones that didn't bolt, and I got the mulch on them early, and I'm thinking that's why they didn't bolt. And this is from the bed where they bolted, and I cut off all the stalks that was growing up to go to flower. And so they did bulb up. I don't know if it's because I cut off the stalks or not. But I mean, it's not as much as I would want, but I did alright for someone who thought that he wasn't going to get anything because the seeds failed back in the spring. Before I start with this bed, the cleaning and mulching, I want to point something out. You see, this one is pretty badly slug eaten. There's a lot of undergrowth, but you see back there, I've got a dead leaf, and there's some dead leaves on the ground back there. There's one right here. There's another one over there. And they've probably already cleaned up other leaves that were there. That, of course, they're gone. Now we can't see them. So that's a fairly healthy cabbage there. I've got another broccoli head growing. Over here, where things are cleaner, then I don't have the same slug pressure. I'm going to clean up those leaves now, but there's only a few dead leaves. And the same thing goes for over here. See, I had a mulch, I already cleaned up the leaves. Now, if I leave that potato plant as dying there, and those few couple dead leaves I just showed you, I think they'll attract the slugs. And then, once the slugs are there, they'll start to heat on the other healthier vegetation as well. So, I need to keep any dying and dead leaves, the larger ones, away. The grass type mulch, I don't find it has any effect. But if I were to take up, say, dandelion leaves and throw in there, then it attracts slugs. This bed, of course, first thing I have to do is pull up those stinging nettles that's growing there on the corner. I might as well pull up these two while I'm at it. can put on the mulch that I've got. Big space here, so I can just dump it out and then spread it around. Like I say, stuff that is mostly grass clippings, I haven't found where it makes any difference to slugs, whether it makes it, like, it doesn't attract them, and it doesn't really keep them away either. So this bed is looking a lot nicer, eh? Nice size of broccoli there. So I'm quite happy with that. I've got my seed heads there from arugula. So I'll let that go and self-seed itself. Well, I thought I had more mulching video, but I can't find it. Not that it matters. This video is getting to be, it'll be over 30 minutes, so time for me to stop. At any rate, I think I'll go up the other side so my shadow is not there. I took the largest turnips out of here, and then I seeded it regularly, like reseeded every 2 inches in straight lines. Turnip, not rutabaga, turnip. And then I done a light dusting, just a very thin layer of mulch, grass clipping mulch over the top, the same as I done with those other 2 beds of the rutabaga and carrot mixture. I got this bed weeded out, and I did some trimming of the trees, and so that's why you see all those big leaves. So I just took the edge trimmer and trimmed back those shrubs that I was saying I had to trim back, and then I ran over the trimmings with the lawnmower and put it there as a mulch. There's nothing in this bed, well, nothing that I planted, that is, but there is, I think there's 3 carrots, might be only 2. Apparently, there was a radish there, full-grown radish. Then I went seed, of course, and a volunteer parsnip. This is a grapevine that I had mentioned before. I would assume that both of these shoots are from the one plant. And then if I go around here, there's another one further out here somewhere, but there's one starting right there, and there's another one here somewhere. I can't really see them right now. So there's 3 grapevines growing there. I think I'm going to put them up on the top flat and see what they do. And because I had empty space and not much to put in there, I put some turnip in here as well. They're only 60 days. And then in this bed I put some Detroit dark red beets, both of which I might be able to get a harvest out of. Now, I didn't move the mulch on these beds. I just took my little pipe that I used to plant the small seed, and I just poked the seed down through the mulch. And so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll see you or talk to you in the next video.